I've been having a hard time making videos lately. I wanted to say something about the abusive relationships that have recently come to light in the YouTube community. And I wasn't able to come up with anything to say for a while. I mean, I thought of speaking on my past experiences. Some of them personal, some of them just watching my friends go through things and not being able to help them. And that sounded good. If I wanted to speak to the survivors of the abusive relationships, I would be able to tell them a lot based on my experiences. And I can tell you, and I am speaking to you now, the survivors and the victims of these abusive relationships, that it's not your fault. Doesn't matter what anybody says, it's not your fault. Don't tell yourself that. If somebody else says that it's your fault you were in an abusive relationship, and it's your fault that you were abused, they are wrong. Don't blame yourself, and don't let anyone else blame you for what happened. And I can promise you that it gets better. Life gets better, and you went through a really bad experience, but that doesn't mean you won't have good experiences in the future. And you will have good relationships, and you will have healthy relationships in the future, because, well, now you know what an unhealthy relationship looks like, and that's valuable experience, and you'll be able to see when things are starting to get unhealthy, and you'll be able to have these kinds of conversations with your future partners. I know this isn't how you wanted to gain that experience and that knowledge, but there's nothing you can do to change how you got this, and I'm sorry. And I want to tell you how remarkably brave I think you are for coming forward about this, because you could have gotten a lot of just verbal abuse from other people and you could have been blamed for it, but it took a lot of courage to come forward and tell the truth and share your stories. And I hope you know that you you may have prevented somebody else from entering an abusive relationship, and you may have put an end to a few, possibly. And that's a really good thing that you did. And you helped other people by coming forward with your story, and I applaud you. I want to speak as part of a community, and I want to speak of the community and applaud it for the support and understanding that I want to applaud it for the support and the understanding that it has offered to the survivors of these abusive relationships. The conversations we've been having on abuse and consent has hopefully made the community a safer place for everyone in it. And I think our little microcosm of the universe, well, it behaved in a way that if the whole world acted like that, we would live in a safer world. We would live in a world with healthier relationships, and we wouldn't have as many abusive relationships, and hopefully we would be able to put an end to them entirely. And there is something to be said to the abusive partners of these relationships. A lot of people looked up to them, and they used that power to hurt people. There were so many young men and a woman who looked up to you, and you set a bad example for them. You should be ashamed of yourselves for doing that. I hope that you've learned from this experience. I hope in the future you have good and healthy relationships and you can leave your abusive ways behind you. I hope that you're deserving of the respect and the admiration that you once had, because you don't have that from a lot of people anymore. To be perfectly honest, I hate you right now because you did a terrible thing, and I know that you can do better, and that you should have done better, and that you shouldn't have hurt the people that you hurt. I hope you do better in the future, though. I hope that you've learned. I think that's all I have to say about the topic. I know that there's a lot that's left to be said. I know there's a lot of conversations that were left to have. But I'll put links in the description for those of you that want to learn more about consent. And there's some links to some videos and some articles and some Tumblr posts because I think they'll be helpful. There's also links to resources for those of you who are currently in a room. There are links for resources for those of you who are There are links to resources for those of you who are currently in an abusive relationship or are a survivor of an abusive relationship. Bye.